Good morning. Thank you for coming on this platform this morning. How would you describe the decision of Northerners insisting that Middlebelt must be part of Core North, and if they refuse, that they will be invaded and conquered? How was your reaction on that?
Well, I want to start by quoting William Shakespeare, who said that if you cheat on me once, shame on you. But if you cheat on me twice, shame on me. The Middlebelters have gotten their own share of the, you know how the Middlebelters were betrayed, after the Civil War. We were, at the forefront of the war. With the intention that we are all Northerners and we are fighting for the common good. But unfortunately, after the war, you will agree with me that the Igbos, has the highest casualty, followed by the Middlebelters. The most of we lost our, most powerful men during the war. You understand? And unfortunately, after the war, in the shortest possible time, we were dumped, used and dumped. And the Middlebelters have learned now. Frankly speaking, if you want to check what is happening, over the years, let's even go by, now, first of all, the word Middlebelt was coined by, people like Joseph Tucker in 1983. It was a Christian initiative. You understand? The reason because we felt betrayed. We felt used and dumped. And then we wanted to carve, ourselves.
Even after the war, before the war?
After the war, we were dumped. Then in 1983, because we have suffered, we were like, how can you just dump us in the shortest possible time when you made us believe that we are fighting a just fight? And after the fight, we were dumped. So in 1983, we came up with the initiative because we wanted to be on our own, not to be part of the North. But unfortunately, it has not seen the light of the day. You understand? So for the northern people to say they will coerce us to join them, they should go and think again. They should understand that they should go and check the history. The Middlebelters are warriors from day one. And we have learned the hard way that we will never allow this mistake happen again. If you want to check, political eventualities from 1999, you will see that the Middlebelters will rather sympathize with the Southerners. They will always want to, I think that this whatever, the Middlebelters will always want to attend. The reason is because we have learned and we will not allow ourselves to suffer, in the hands of, we've had this discussion with you one time about the Hausa Fulani hegemony. It is there. The essence is that we will be used as willing tools. Okay, Nigeria got independent in 1960. 11 days after independence. These are things that, unfortunately, history is no longer there. In 1960, October 11th, 11 days after independence, Ahmadu Bello made a statement, and I'm going to quote him. He said, "We shall use the minority in the north as willing tools, and we shall conquer the south and bury the Quran at the Atlantic Ocean." What does that mean? They have always seen us as tools to use for their selfish interests, and we are never part of whatever interest they think. Politics is about interest. The Middlebelters are wiser, smarter now, more sophisticated than you can ever imagine. You understand? So I don't think they will have their way this time around.
Okay, looking at what we are saying, yes, there seems to be an understanding now that if Nigeria come to a point, you are from Middlebelt, how would you see if your people, like you said, share the same culture with the Igbo people? Would you want to advocate that to that extent?
Of course, and I tell you, this advocacy will not even take longer time before the entire Middlebelters will accept it. The reason is because you have been with these people over time, and if you want to even check how the North was conquered, the reason why they could not penetrate part of the, particularly the Middlebelt, was because of the fact that, like I said, we were warriors. Queen Amina was killed in the Middlebelt. You understand? When the jihadists were coming. You understand? So that is a point. And another thing is, we have lots of similarities with the Igbos. Okay, now let's even mention religion as a major factor. You understand? The Bible says, can two work together except they agree? Religion is a major factor. Let's go talk about people, particularly I'm from Benue State, by tribe. We have a lot of things in common with the Igbos. Talking about, marriage ceremony, burial ceremony. You understand? A whole lot of things. In terms of even the type of foods that we consume, a whole lot of things that are, that brings us together, which means we can easily flow and prosper with the Igbos more than the core northerners, like you mentioned them. If you go to the, particularly my place, the Uko Oye that you mentioned, we all have them. We have Uko Market Day. You understand? So these things are there. I can tell you it was just political interest that divide us. If not, some of us shouldn't be in the north in the first place. It was selfish interest, one of the colonial masters. Secondly, the northern hegemony. They designed the system like this in order to, you see, this Igbo demonization process, Lord Lugard started it. Port Harcourt was called Nkwocha. I believe you are Igbo, so you understand what Nkwocha means. You understand? That was the name. But because the Portuguese who first came before England also fought, the Igbos were people, who are more inquisitive, more curious. They want to know why you want to take certain decision. If you check to the Aba women riot in 1923, the Aba women riot, it will tell you the type of persons the Igbos are. They are not people that want to just submit because you came with something you think is superior to what they are. You must convince them beyond reasonable doubt. So Lord Lugard was not having an easy right in the eastern region. So what he wanted was to de-Igbonize the Igbos. You understand? And then they were to build a railway connecting Enugu to Nkwocha, which is today called Port Harcourt. The whole idea is so that it will be easier for them to move coal from Enugu. You understand? So he now decided that his secretary was loyal to him and he wanted to rename a cultural thing, heritage. This was what the people consider as their heritage. Changing the name from Nkwocha to Port Harcourt. You understand? That was just a way to de-Igbonize the Igbos. And we saw that played out. Yakubu Gowon did similar before the Biafran war. The state that he carved out. You saw the problem that generated. We saw what Joseph Effiong, the next in command to Ojukwu then, said that was a direct attack, and they told Ojukwu to declare Biafra because that these people have just attacked you now. They removed most of the juicy places like the oil, whatever, and tried to make it look as if it's no longer part of the western region. You understand? So that is why you can see these things has been there, and we keep having this problem till date.
Okay, the guy we are seeing making a very serious advocacy in U.S. Congress currently now, I said, and I quote, Benue State is the largest Christian state in the Middlebelt, or if not the entire North.
Yes.
That the options of them joining a struggle for Biafra restoration, nobody can stop them. Do you subscribe to that as somebody who come from that angle?
Yes.
In case there is crisis there and
if
everything
Nigeria
does go...
get to the point where it will have to split, I think I will be safer with the Biafrans than to be with the Hausa Fulanis. 100% a rational thinking Middlebelter will find comfort more, you understand, with the Easterners than to... Would you want to stay with people that will want to coerce you to practice a religion you do not want? Would you want to stay with people that will want to kill you at any, given provocation? Of course, the answer is no. You understand? So that is it. And then, you see, The Benue people particularly have shown over the years, they have dared in a way, they have paid their own price in a way to fight this Hausa Fulani. You know Gideon Orkar. He's from Benue State, the person who wanted to remove the northwest and northeast from Nigeria.
Do you think that would have solved the issue of Fulani?
Of course! I just quoted the scripture to you. Amos 3:3, can two work together except they agree? Nigeria is a mistake. The people who amalgamated us caused the crisis that they know that will never end. And it is for their own personal interest. What is the crisis they caused? Snake, frog, dog can never live together as family. You understand? Have you ever seen where snake, frog, and then live together as family? It's not possible. That is how we live in Nigeria. They brought us from different places. They know we are going to be hostile to each other. And once you are hostile to each other, there wouldn't be economic growth. Which is where in Nigeria? Okay, now look at the entire north. Look at the budget for defense this year. 5 trillion naira. More than the budget for education. You are budgeting money to fight terrorism. More than the money you are budgeting for education. Does that tell you this is a country that will grow in the near future? The answer is no. You understand? The reason is because we are living in a society where the white people did it. They made us to be hostile. We will never agree. We can never agree. Most of the time we come to talk, but then I can tell you, and they did it, it was intentional. It was purely intentional, so that it will be to their economic gain. Look at, in fact, they designed Nigeria to service their interest, not our interest.
Okay, looking at, let's say, Nzogu actually made a mistake. Gideon Orkar also made that kind of mistake, because how would you compare Nzogu's era with his agenda and that of Gideon? Did you see any factor that actually breed what we are experiencing today in that coup, respectively?
You see, two major things that necessitated the coup. You understand? At a point, there was corruption in the system, and the militaries were not happy because Nigerian military were more professional then. Is it 5% or 10% corruption, in the system where you talk about kickbacks. Before I give you contract, there's a percentage I want to get from you. The militaries were not so happy. Then you talk about the Yoruba riot. It was also one of the factors that necessitated, because we had the Mimalari who was supposed to invade the Yoruba land on the 17th of January 1966. But the coup took place, according to some writers, on the 15th of January 1966. The reason is to stop that attack that was to come to whatever. And if you look at the agreement among the coup plotters, is that if the coup succeeds, Awolowo will be freed from Calabar prison and be made president. That even if he refuses, they will pass a military decree to force him to coerce him to become president. You understand? But most Nigerians will also want to term it as Igbo coup in a way, because we expected that the killing should go round. You understand? Just like you have killed in the north, you have killed in the west, we expected the same killing. So that the fact that some Igbos who should have been killed were not killed, some figures were not killed, generated a lot of, suspicion. People were not like, I know these people were doing it only for their own interest. But you see, Gideon Orkar, don't forget that Gideon Orkar is from the Middlebelt. You understand? He was from a place where we felt betrayed after the Civil War. You understand? These people used us.
Oh, you said Middlebelt came into relevance as a region after the Civil War.
Yes, in 1980, it was a Christian initiative by people like Joseph Tucker, the initiator. You understand?
Northern Christians.
Yes, Northern Christians.
They created it they created it to be a region for Christians
so
in the
that
north.
we will not be part of the north. They used and dumped us after the Civil War. Do you know the kind of manpower we lost? The Middlebelt would have grown by now very well because we were warriors from day one, if you want to check our history. But all those strong men who would have helped to develop the country were killed during the war. And we thought we were fighting a just cause for the interest of all. Unfortunately, after the war, we were dumped. How far can the Middlebelt get to politically in Nigeria?
Do you see Biafra in the nearest future? And if it comes, would you celebrate the imprisonment of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu?
You see, if Nigeria failed to do the needful, that is if, because now, the Biafran issue is gaining more popularity now. If Nigeria failed to do the needful, I have listened to Awolowo interviewed on BBC, I think in 2013, when Boko Haram were ravaging everywhere. They told him that, what do you think will be the way out? Is splitting the country a way out? Awolowo said that Nigeria is too big, that if we do a kind of fragmentation, it will be better. What he's trying to tell you, he wouldn't want to go directly tell you secede is the way. But if you can break it in a way where people can just afford to control themselves, it will be better. And that is the way. If we cannot grow as a people, this is 65 years, and we are still battling with issues that, we should have gone past far. We are still battling with them, and population is growing, so it's a disaster waiting to happen. If we cannot live together, let's split, so that people who want to develop themselves will develop themselves. Look at what Awolowo said in 1947. Awolowo said the union with the North will slow down progress in some section of the country. He said just like the Igbos are known for enterprising, the Yorubas are known for this, the Igbos are known for that. He said the Northerners are indifferent and lazy. You understand? And you can justify this very statement from him. Where are we today? Who are the people dragging us backward? The same North. Imagine a Nigeria without Hausa Fulani. That Nigeria would have been competing with Europe now. By now, I can bet you, we would have been competing with Europe. A Nigeria without Hausa Fulani. So if Biafra is the way to go, because if you design Biafra today, and you want to ask me that is the only option now, choose between this side or that side, I would rather with speed choose Biafra for two factors. One, religious factor, I share the same faith with them, so we can work together. Secondly, cultural factor, I just told you one thing. We have to share a lot of things in common. Marriage ceremony, burial ceremony, my own place, particularly with the Igbos, are the same.
Thank you.